all that
I guess
stuff?
so, yeah. Oh, definitely, for sure, on the ski out and the scheme and things like that. But I think it's a couple-hour bus ride, so get to know everybody.
In the heart of a summer evening, under the glowing dome of arena lights, two forces of the WNBA prepared to collide. August 12th, 2025. A date that would etch itself into the storylines of both franchises. The Dallas Wings, a team built on sharp edges and relentless execution, stood on one side. On the other, the Indiana Fever, fueled by raw energy, youthful fire, and the will to defy every odds stacked against them. The court gleamed like a polished battlefield, the hardwood reflecting flashes of cameras and the restless shimmer of the crowd. Thousands of voices blended into one unbroken hum, a sound not of noise, but of anticipation. From the tunnel, players emerged in slow motion, the fabric of their jerseys swaying with every step, sneakers squeaking faintly against the floor, as if the building itself knew something monumental was about to unfold. Dallas had their stars, aligned. Paige Buchers, the poised floor general with a mind like a chess master. Maddie Siegrist, whose scoring touch could cut through any defense. And Lee Ueru, the towering presence in the paint, who could bend matchups to her will. Across from them, Indiana answered with Kelsey Mitchell, the heartbeat and the closer, Aaliyah Boston, the anchor who guarded the rim like a vault, and a supporting cast ready to push the game's tempo until Dallas could no longer breathe. As the tip-off loomed, the camera caught close-ups, sweat already forming on brows, jaws tightening, eyes narrowing. It wasn't just another regular season game. For both teams, this was a measuring stick. For Dallas, it was proof of their control over the league's pace. For Indiana, it was a chance to send a warning shot to every contender. The ball rose into the air, and the battle began. Dallas struck first. Paige Buchers, reading the defense before the ball even touched her hands, sliced a bounce pass into the lane. Maddie Siegrist caught it mid-stride, pivoted, and dropped a mid-range jumper that kissed the glass before falling in. The crowd roared, their team drawing first blood. Indiana responded with Kelsey Mitchell pushing the ball in transition, darting between defenders like a shadow slipping between cracks. She stopped on a dime, rose for a three, and watched as the ball rotated in slow motion before snapping the net. 3-all. The early minutes were a chess match, Dallas using set plays to find Siegrist's sweet spots, Indiana pushing tempo to get easy looks before the Wings' defense could set. But slowly, the Wings began to impose their will. Buchers found Siegrist on back-to-back possessions, one on a corner three, another on a curling cut to the basket. The scoreboard edged to 12-7 in Dallas's favor. Aaliyah Boston tried to swing momentum. Catching the ball in the high post, she faced up against Lee Ueru, took one hard dribble, then spun baseline. Contact came, the whistle blew, and Boston dropped the ball through the hoop anyway. The Fever bench exploded in cheers, the scoreboard showing 12-10, and for a moment, the balance hung even. But Dallas wasn't done. Their defense tightened. Hands in passing lanes, rotations crisp, communication constant. Indiana's possessions became longer, harder, each pass feeling heavier. With 2 minutes left in the first quarter, Siegrist drilled another three, and the Wings pushed the lead to 8. The crowd sensed a run, their cheers swelling like a storm about to break. The first quarter closed with Dallas up 23-15. Their control evident, but not absolute. Indiana, though behind, carried a quiet confidence into the huddle, the kind born from knowing they had more to give. Second quarter, the Fever adjusted. Instead of running headlong into Dallas's set defense, they slowed down, worked through Boston in the post, and forced rotations that opened lanes for cutters. Mitchell found Boston for a soft hook. Then, Lexi Hull slipped baseline for a reverse layup. The gap narrowed to 4. Paige Buchers answered with surgical precision, a no-look pass to Lee Ueru under the rim, who finished with ease. But Indiana's defense had begun to disrupt the Wings' rhythm. Natasha Howard stepped into a passing lane for a steal, took 2 dribbles, and sent an outlet to Mitchell. Mitchell hesitated, drew the defense, then lobbed it to Boston for the finish. The Fever bench rose as one. The deficit was down to 2. And then came the moment that shifted the entire arena's energy. Mitchell, dribbling near the top of the key, saw Siegrist switch onto her after a screen. She sized her up. One dribble left, crossover right, hesitation, then a sudden step-back 3. The ball arced high, hung in the air, and dropped through. Clean. The Fever fans in attendance erupted. For the first time since the opening minutes, Indiana had the lead, 33-32. Dallas called timeout. The arena dimmed in volume, replaced by the pounding rhythm of drums from the Fever supporters. On the Dallas bench, Buchers leaned over the huddle, her voice sharp, eyes locked on her teammates. They weren't here to give up control. The final. Minutes of the half played like a pendulum swinging wildly. Dallas regained the lead on a Siegrist jumper. Indiana tied it on a Howard putback. Lee Ueru scored inside. Mitchell answered with a pull-up mid-range. Shot after shot, stop after stop. The crowd could barely breathe between possessions. Halftime. Buzzer. Score tied at 39-39. Both teams walked into their locker rooms knowing they had tasted the other's best punches, and that the second half would demand even more. The camera fades in. Darkness all around. Only the soft hum of the arena outside can be heard. Then, a single light flickers on inside the Indiana Fever locker room. Sweat drips down Caitlin Clark's forehead, a bead sliding slowly along her cheek before it disappears into the collar of her jersey. Her hands rest on her knees, eyes locked on the floor, not in defeat, but in laser focus. Around her, the sound of heavy breathing fills the air, every inhale and exhale echoing like a drumbeat of war. Coach steps into the center of the room, clipboard in one hand, voice steady but sharp. "Listen up," she says, the words cutting through the haze of exhaustion. "We came here to fight. We came here to make them remember our name. Dallas thinks they've got the momentum. They don't know what's coming." A fist slams into a palm. Aaliyah Boston, her voice low. "Let's make them feel it." Caitlin lifts her head, eyes blazing now. "One possession at a time," she says. "We hit hard, we hit smart, and we don't stop until the buzzer says 0. The camera cuts to close-ups, laces being tightened, mouth guards bitten down. On. Sneakers squeaking against the floor as players stand. From the far end of the room, the faint roar of the crowd swells, like an ocean wave rolling toward the shore. The door opens to the tunnel, light spilling inside. Slow motion. The Fever walk out, heads high. Each step echoes against the concrete, the cheers growing louder with every stride. Caitlin glances up toward the stands, thousands of fans on. Their feet a sea of red and gold. The horn sounds. Third quarter begins. Dallas has the ball first. Arik Ogunbowale wastes no time. She drives hard to the basket, a quick step past her defender and lays it in. The Wings fans erupt, but the Fever players don't flinch. Caitlin takes the inbound pass, jogging the ball up the court. She calls for a screen from Boston, slips left, and bang, a deep 3 from well beyond the arc. The crowd explodes. Possession after possession, the energy shifts. Dallas pushes inside. Fever answer from outside. Boston battles in the paint. Nalissa Smith snatches boards like her life depends on it. And Caitlin, she's everywhere. Diving for loose balls, threading impossible passes, pulling up for fearless jumpers. Midway through the quarter, the score tightens. Dallas calls a timeout, their coach pacing furiously. The camera pans to the Fever huddle, Caitlin standing in the center, towel draped around her neck. "They're tired," she says, voice sharp. "Let's break them now." The next play? A masterclass. Caitlin fakes the drive, draws 2 defenders, and flips a behind-the-back pass to Boston for the easy finish. The crowd loses its mind. But Dallas isn't done. They fight back, hitting a couple of tough mid-range shots to stay alive. The quarter winds down, the clock ticking under a minute. Caitlin takes the ball again. The arena holds its breath. She dribbles once, twice, steps back from the logo. Splash! The buzzer sounds. Fever up by 4 heading into the fourth quarter. The camera zooms in on Caitlin's face. Sweat, fire, and the faintest smirk. The battle isn't over, but the tide is turning. The screen fades in from black. A slow, haunting heartbeat echoes in the background. The scoreboard glows in the distance. Fever, 72. Wings, 68. 12 minutes left. Everything on the line. The camera pans over the crowd. Every face tense, every fist clenched, every fan leaning forward like the next possession might decide their fate. Caitlin Clark walks toward the huddle, her jersey clinging to her skin, her breathing steady. But her eyes are burning. The kind of fire you only see when an athlete knows this is the moment that will be remembered. Coach speaks fast, drawing arrows on the board. Dallas is going to try to blitz Caitlin on the perimeter. Boston, roll hard. Nalissa, crash the boards. And everybody, talk on defense. The horn blares. Fourth quarter begins. Dallas wastes no time. Ogunbowale comes off a screen and drills a deep jumper. The lead is cut to 2. The Wings bench erupts, their energy flooding the court, but Caitlin doesn't blink. She takes the inbound, jogs across half court, and calls for a high screen. The Wings trap her instantly, 2 defenders swarming, and that's when she whips a no-look laser. To a cutting Nalissa Smith for the layup. The crowd explodes. The game becomes a war. Dallas hits a 3. Fever answer with a baseline drive. Bodies hit the floor, elbows swing for rebounds. The whistle shrieks over and over. 7 minutes left. The score, 80-79 Fever. Then comes the moment. Caitlin brings the ball up, dribbling slow, surveying the floor. She fakes right, crosses left, steps back, defender in her face, and launches from way beyond the arc. The ball hangs in the air for what feels like forever. Splash! The crowd loses its mind. The bench is jumping. And Caitlin? She just jogs back, expression calm, like she's been here 1,000 times before. But Dallas won't die. With under 3 minutes to go, they tie the game at 88. The arena is pure chaos. Timeout Fever. Coach huddles them in. We've worked too hard for this. Let's finish it. The next possession, Caitlin slices into the lane, pulls both defenders, then kicks it to Mitchell in the corner. Bang! 3-pointer. Fever up by 3. The Wings score again. Fever answer. The clock drips under 1 minute. 40 seconds left. Fever up 93.